I had been performing with Quartet, the, a group that was formed by with myself and three other female singer songwriters, and we did that for 26 years. And the material that I wrote during that period of time, a lot of it was recorded by Quartet. But I realized when Quartet disbanded in November of this past year that I had a bunch of songs that I had never recorded, and that if I didn't record them soon, I might not get to record them. So I thought I'd better get busy.
So what does this album mean to you?
It's beginning to mean more as it goes along because it's getting so much attention, which truly I did not expect. I'm thrilled and delighted that it's getting so much play and so much interest. But at the time, it was just a kind of a vanity project, I suppose you could say, that I had 12 songs that hadn't been recorded. I really wanted to do them. I got together with Danny Greenspoon, the producer, and Danny just did a brilliant job of pulling it all together because the songs are very diverse. And he put together an ensemble of musicians that played throughout the album and did all of the arrangements and made sure that they had heard demos of all the songs beforehand. And we went into the studio and recorded 12 songs in 3 days, which I think is some kind of record. But it was so smooth. It went so well. It was just a treat to do it. History repeating.
Welcome back to History Repeating, and I still can't believe I got to speak with this episode's guest, the Canadian and folk music legend, Sylvia Tyson, who started off as one half of the iconic duo Ian and Sylvia way back in 1959. As you heard from the opening, Sylvia's released her first new album in over a decade, titled At the End of the Day. This is a beautiful album from start to finish and has such a variety of styles and stories. And this is no accident, and you'll see why.
Well, the songs were written over a period of 10 or 15 years. And one nice thing about co-writes is you always turn out something that you wouldn't turn out by yourself. So it's been a treat for me to collaborate with friends on some of the songs. And as you say, it is quite diverse. And I've always been, as a songwriter, concerned with giving the songs the treatment they deserve rather than trying to slot them into a certain kind of music. And what Danny did was he created a cohesiveness with the musical sound of it.
These songs were written over the last 10 or 15 years. And they're truly some of Sylvia's best work to date, if not the best. And certainly, they're the most personal she's ever done. The album opens with a great song titled Sweet Agony, and like all of Sylvia's songs, the lyrics are phenomenal.
Well, my feeling about that song is that there are endless numbers of love songs, and this is not a love song, it's a song about love. And all of the permutations and ups and downs of being in love and yet taking that chance again. That's really what the song is about.
And when you were choosing songs for this album, how did you go about that? Did you...
Well, they were really the songs that I'd written in that 10 or 15 year period that I'd never recorded. I didn't have any set idea about putting together, titles that all work together.
I wanted to get to know the meaning behind a lot of Sylvia's latest material. And what's interesting is that she never changed the lyrics when revisiting these songs. She didn't feel that she really had to. So the next track that we discussed was Leaves in the Storm, which I definitely recommend that you check out.
Well, Leaves in the Storm, oddly enough, that one is getting more play than I thought it would because it's very much time and place. It was probably Kurt Weill influenced. it's kind of nostalgic, I guess, in a way. And actually, another point that I should make is that that particular title shows up in the novel that I wrote a few years back called Joiner's Dream. Shows up in the second half of the book as a song that appears, and I had written it at that point, but never got to record it.
And for example, with that song, what was it like revisiting a song that you wrote, a long time ago, 10 years ago? What's that like to go back to?
Well, I worked very hard on the lyrics. I write and rewrite and delete and add, and the point is that a song that I wrote that long ago and still holds up for me is what counts as far as I'm concerned.
So did you have to edit any of the lyrics, change any of them?
No, I didn't change a word or a note.
Not Quite Rain is another one of the songs from Sylvia's latest album, and I'm truly at a loss for words to describe just how beautiful this song is. So take a listen to what Sylvia had to say about this very special song. You have such a gift for lyrics.
Oh, thank you. Well, of course, Joan Besson wrote the melody for that. I co-wrote 2 songs on the album with Joan Besson, Not Quite Rain and At the End of the Day, the title song. And the situation was that Joan, like everyone else, was confined to her house during the whole COVID thing, but on top of that, she broke her ankle. So she was going a little stir-crazy, and we were in touch by phone, and so I sent her 2 sets of lyrics, and she wrote the melodies for both. I think Not Quite Rain is just kind of atmospheric. I just wanted to put people in a certain place, imagining themselves meeting someone for the first time and not being able to end the conversation. Long Chain of Love was the very first song that I ever heard from this album. And as soon as I listened to it, I was hooked and I had to hear the whole thing. The lyrics take an interesting look at tracing a family's history. Yes, when Cindy and I wrote that, I had written the lyrics and sent it to her for a melody. And we had talked about the fact that generally speaking, families are traced through the male line. And we thought it would be interesting to trace a family through the female line, and that's really what the song is about. The lyrics for these things, you said that they became more personal, more now in your writing. Do you find that these songs are reflective of your own life in any way? Well, like I say, it's just like the Huey Lewis thing. You write it, and if the real stuff isn't working, then you make stuff up. I think it's just a case of putting yourself in the song, what you have developed of it so far, and go where it carries you, and finish it that way. One of the most emotional songs on the album is Generous Heart, which he co-wrote with the great Shirley Urquhart, who I'm sure many people know from writing classics like Bonnie Raitt's Grammy Award-winning Something to Talk About. And she was inducted into the Canadian Songwriters Hall of Fame. Sadly, Shirley passed away, but not before Sylvia was able to tell her that she was finally going to record the song that they wrote all those years ago. Generous Heart I wrote with Shirley Urquhart, and a sad story about that one is we wrote it, about 10, 12 years ago, and she wrote the melody, and I called her to tell her I was finally going to record it after all this time, and she was gone a week later, so that kind of hit home for me very hard. As a matter of fact, I dedicated the album to her because she was such a wonderful singer and songwriter performer, could play any instrument she picked up, and a great loss to Canadian music. Generous Heart, well, I guess it just talks about the fact that some people most of us, I guess, are very selfish in some ways and only happy to let other people carry the emotional burden of a relationship, and it talks about taking that burden over.
I cannot say enough good things about Sylvia's album at the end of the day. It's really the perfect album from start to finish. So look out for our next episode where we'll discuss a few more cuts from the album, as well as remembering her time at the Newport Folk Festival, where Bob Dylan went electric and shocked the entire audience and the world. Until next time, this has been History Repeating.